just through the lens of platinum, if we were starting over, how would we do that?
Get some duct tape.
Oh boy.
Maybe some Google Sheets.
Those were the days.
Some Zaps.
$1,000 Zapier bill a month.
If we offered exclusive leads that you could select by county and you only paid for valid leads, would you be interested?
It's okay to create the demand first and then start fulfilling on the demand when you can do it profitably.
Like we get to look now at our PPL clients and handpick the best clients.
What you're doing is you're adding to your offering. You're not creating a decision point for clients.
It's sending
Profit.
money straight to the bottom line.
It's kind of this perfect little flywheel.
It's magical.
It's magical.
Well, Drew, I think we have a very interesting episode
We do.
for our millions of listeners today.
Yeah, I think the group's at 47 million at this point.
Something like that.
I'm rounding the nearest 47 million. But if you go to thatagencygroup.com, you can join everybody there. What I'm excited about most about this episode is that it is where we are, right? We've gone through 12 episodes, kind of building and talking about our entire journey from zero, really probably a negative, to $1 million a month profitably. The last 2 episodes were great, really focused on how Juiced has made us more efficient as well as more profitable. I guess that was the last 3 episodes. Last episode was about scaling with strategic partners, which is something that we're actively doing. And again, we keep making jokes about like, we don't have a course to sell or a mastermind because that's not what we do. We're operators. We work in LeadZolo every single day. And we also have Juiced, which we built to help make LeadZolo better. And now, obviously, we're offering Juiced to other people. But the main point here is that we're operators.
Some days I would use the term work very loosely.
Well, fair enough. We're operating a business that is now quite efficient and profitable, which definitely allows us some liberty and agency with our time.
Which is nice. It gives us the opportunity to come make this show. Yeah, really make the show that we would have loved to have listened to when we were starting out. Mm-hmm. It didn't exist. At least if it did, I couldn't find it.
So now we're at our latest evolution. And this step, this part of the journey really just started unfolding 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, it really started unfolding a year ago.
Yes, when the idea was birthed.
We didn't really have the capability to do it how we wanted to do it until a few months ago.
So Marketplace was one of what I thought was going to be a huge needle mover for a company, and it absolutely was. This was the second thing for me. This is when we kind of came up with this idea, and it came from, I was doing a one day with a mentor of mine in San Diego, and he kind of planted the seed a little bit for us. Not specifically how it is, but the idea of it. And it got me really excited.
What it is for us now is how we refer to it as a hybrid agency. So if you've been listening to the past episodes, you know that we started out as freelancers. We did a lot of work on retainer. I sold my last agency, which was a retainer agency. Clients were paying retainers. We went through an evolution at LeadZolo where we were charging retainers for a Google Ads management service. But really, pay per lead took over.
Yeah, we were really throwing rocks at retainer for quite some time.
Pay per lead took over. We've obviously been quite successful now with pay per lead and being able to scale as a pay per lead agency. And what a hybrid agency is now for us is we've now brought retainer back into the fold, and we're doing it now what we see as the right way.
That's right. Because we definitely know the wrong way. We knew the wrong way in ad leg was complexity of delivery and having this wide array of businesses and clients.
Which works for some people. Some people love that complexity. Right. For us, we wanted simplicity.
We wanted scale.
Pay per lead gave us the simplicity.
Yep. We also learned in LeadZolo with retainer that it has to be the right type of client as well. They have to be at a certain part in their journey for them to really be able to get the most out of a retainer offer and be able to like have the capital and time to get ads up and running and whatnot.
And we'll get into all the details, but we have now added a retainer service, a retainer offering into our pay-per-lead business. The two are joined at the hip. It's a very integrated offering. And to be a hybrid agency, you can start as a PPL agency like we have, then you can add retainer in, which if we were starting from scratch is how we would recommend.
Yes.
But if you already have a retainer agency and you already have a number of retainer clients, you can also add PPL into the mix
Very easily.
using the same model we're going to be talking about today. And you can become a hybrid agency that way.
Yes.
By starting to incorporate PPL into your existing retainer agency.
Yeah. And to be clear, this isn't like having a pizzeria and bolting on a pasta shop on the side, right? And giving people an option of one of the two. This is like having a high-end restaurant and adding some exquisite wine to the menu. What you're doing is you're adding to your offering. You're not creating a decision point for clients. You're creating an ascension ladder. And more importantly, what I really like to think about this is if you're looking at it through the lens of a retainer agency, is you're adding a downsell that will be applicable to a huge bucket of leads that are not ready for retainer. And conversely, if you're looking at this through a PPL lens, what you're able to do now is take the clients who are buying leads from you on a PPL basis and wanting to spend more with you and to get more volume that you may not be able to fulfill on, and being able to really ascend them, helping them grow their company with more leads. They're still buying leads on the PPL platform, but you're making them happier by also adding the secondary offering, and you're making more money on that client.
On a high level, I'm sure you can kind of start to figure out how this works. But there are a lot of details we'll get into on how this really does. These two offerings now, the PPL and the retainer service, really go hand in hand. And that's why we're not just an agency offering the two different things. It is a hybrid agency. It's a blend of the two things. So let's talk about how we came up with this. So for us, we call our retainer offering LeadZolo Platinum.
Because it's super cool. That's really it.
Because it's such an expensive metal.
Yep. Yep.
Is more expensive than silver.
Yeah, we started at silver, LeadZolo silver, but platinum really
really
got us more excited.
We had a 4-hour brainstorming session.
Yep.
We asked ChatGPT.
Yep. And Grok.
What's better, platinum or silver? And we settled on LeadZolo Platinum.
Yep.
So this really came about, like Drew mentioned, we were in a meeting with Drew's mentor, mainly Drew's mentor, but I was in this particular meeting also. And he was going through our business. This is one of the first times he had actually looked at our business, had actually looked at LeadZolo. So he didn't have the full story, but he definitely had some really great ideas. And one of those was taking a look at our quality of earnings. Yes. So if we were ever to go and sell LeadZolo, a potential buyer is going to look at our different streams of revenue, our different earnings. And any earnings, any profits that are coming from people buying leads and putting money into a wallet whenever they decide to do so, and then buying leads, that's one type of earning. And that's great earnings. There's nothing wrong with that. Another type of earnings would be monthly recurring earnings, which is seen as a higher quality of earnings because it's coming in every month. It's more consistent.
It could potentially be on a contract.
Yeah. So someone looking at value in a company would place a higher multiple on the higher quality of earnings. So it'd be like a blend. At the end of the day, it'd be a blended multiple that somebody would use. But ultimately, LeadZolo would be more valuable if we had more subscription earnings.
That's right. And in conjunction with this, we were also looking, and this will be true of any business, of course, the 80-20 rule, where 80% of our revenue is coming from 20% of our clients. And how do we better serve those 20% of clients? And basically, how do we make more money with those people? Because they're our best clients.
Yeah. He said, you need to basically just be selling leads to these top dogs.
Yeah.
Don't even think about selling leads to anybody else. Yeah. Just serve the top dogs.
Yeah. They could have everybody else gets the scraps, and that's great. And maybe they'll ascend into the top dogs. But like, if all you just look after the top dogs, and everything else will look after itself.
Yeah,
which is great advice.
The mindset he was coming at this from was, of course, he runs a very high end coaching program where he only works with the top dogs. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have any offering for anybody else. Mm-hmm. We are always going to have an offering for someone who doesn't have as much money to start with, or they're not going to be able to spend as much per month. So we were never going to exclude the bottom, the lower spender clients.
Correct.
But yeah, we definitely saw the vision of, how do we serve the higher end clients better? Mm-hmm. They're probably willing and wanting to spend a lot more with us.
Yeah. And we knew that of them too. So like we knew, I'd love to say we sent you a survey and whatever, but no, we talk to our clients all the time. So we knew that the biggest pain point that our top dog, our best clients were having was that they wanted they want to know exactly how many leads they could get each month from us, and they wanted to be able to scale that number kind of at will. They wanted to say, I want 100 leads this month, and next month, if things are going well, I want 150 leads. And our system is not built for that. They could set their caps and their budgets to accommodate for that and have enough money in their wallet, but if we had 100 people in their market and there's all these bids going on, like they're not getting consistency in price because they're having to compete with the bids, and they're just not getting all the volume of leads that they want unless they're like actively in the platform doing like managing bids and their lead flow. And they didn't want that. They just wanted to operate on their business, and they wanted us to just deal with the marketing. Like, you guys be the marketing, let us be sales and dispo. We don't want to do this fuck around on the PPL platform.
Yeah. So the first idea that we had of how we could accomplish this, because we knew from how we had started out, and we had sold these packages of 30 leads and then had troubles fulfilling on them. We didn't want to do that again. We still knew that wasn't going to work. But what we could do is we could look at, now that we were generating thousands of leads per month, we could look at areas where we were consistently generating leads. Historically, presently, there might be a metro where we are generating 100 leads per month and selling them through our PPL platform. Well, if a client wanted 50 leads a month in that metro, we could very easily guarantee that to them now. So we generating about 100 leads a month, up and down maybe by a little bit each month, but it never dips down to 50. So we can guarantee 50 leads to one client in that metro. The other 50 leads continue to get sold on the PPL platform. So that was kind of how we started to look at this and started to think about how could that work to actually send a guaranteed number of leads.
It also helps with some other issues as well, right? So where people want to be like really specific with their counties, and obviously the more counties where we have bids, the better for us for targeting. What we could do is by defining these metros, and a metro to us would be in a specific area and would be a group of counties. Like for example, in a city. What we wanted to do is take these guys, kind of force them into a metro and guarantee them a percentage of the lead share of that metro each month. And we would bill them on like the average bid price minus like 10 or 20%. I don't know what we decided on, say minus 10%. And they would lock in at that price for the quarter. So you go, okay, you get the Atlanta metro, which involves these 4 counties in Atlanta. We're getting 100 leads a month there, so we are going to guarantee 50% of that lead flow to the platinum client at the last quarter's average price minus 10% or something like that.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this thinking this all sounds very complicated.
It is.
It is. And that's why we sat on this idea for quite some time.
Yeah.
It never really kind of formed. Like we went through the process of defining all the metros, figuring out how many leads we were generating in each metro. We never really got to the point of thinking this is a great idea and we want to offer it to clients.
We also had a little PTSD from the last time we were doing lead packages, and like we were really enjoying the simplicity of like people were just like flowing onto the platform and we were generating leads, and we'd gotten over this need that like somebody has a $5,000 wallet in Casper, Wyoming. We need to like force spend in Casper. We didn't think about that stuff anymore. We were just like, cool, if we can spend 20 grand on media buying to make 40 grand today, then we're laughing or whatever. And we have all these vendor leads coming in. Great. Let's just keep bringing people onto the platform. Why are we trying to overcomplicate things by defining metro, guaranteeing a certain part of market share, figuring out what that price should be? We also wanted to charge them like a retainer to be a platinum client. How would this all work in a sales process? Who do we offer it to?
Yeah.
There was complexity.
And we weren't concerned really with quality of earnings. Like we're not setting up LeadZolo to try to have an exit in 2 years or anything.
Unless you want to buy it for a really crazy multiple, then hit me up.
He hit me up first, and then I'll let Drew know, and then I can take a commission on the sale. I'll broker it.
You're going to broker it to your partner. That's it. You should start a course on that.
Ooh.
How to broker a sale to your partner.
It's a good idea. That's a broker a sale to partnergroup.com.
Man, we're going to buy a lot of domains. But yeah, to Kyle's point, it was we didn't know if the juice was worth the squeeze. So yes, I have a list of juice puns. So
do you have another one? Because
I literally
juice
just have
is
the
worth
same
the
one.
squeeze is the only one I've seen.
Literally the same one. Yeah. But yeah, so it really wasn't worth us like changing things up. We had a lot going on. We're still developing the software. This would be something else where we would have to figure out a development for, right? Like we would need somehow in the portal for platinums to be identified and get 50% or get their certain amount of leads each month. And plus there's probably going to be some returns, or I thought maybe there was going to be no returns. That was going to be part of the deal. I don't friggin' know. There was a lot to go through and it just didn't really seem worth it until we had the idea of like, well, what if it wasn't through the PPL platform? What if it wasn't that? We do basically nationwide media buying. So our ads are very generic in terms, like we don't mention a location in our ads because we could be running it anywhere in America. We know that hyper-specific ads convert really, really well. So if you're in the Bronx, New York, and there's an ad specifically saying, hey, I'm looking to buy a house in the Bronx, people living there are going to resonate with that ad way better than, hey, I'm looking to buy houses in America. We're thinking about this kind of stuff on the media buying side and the creative side. And like, we really didn't want to have 50 different campaigns, one for each state, let alone 500 campaigns to have one for each city to make all these hyper-specific ads. So then finally it kind of dawned on us to like, what if we took our best clients and we reached out to them and we offered to run ads specifically for them in their areas on Meta and YouTube, the same platforms that we're running for PPL. We script the ads for them to be hyper-specific and we brand it with them. Heck, why don't we even have these people be in the ads and make it a very, very localized, branded ad campaign and a retainer offer? We can make it a no-brainer retainer, like $1,500. We don't have to charge them $5,000 or $10,000 or $5,000 or $1,000 plus 11% of ad spend up to $10,000 and then 7% from 10 to 20, whatever. None of that crap. We could charge them $1,500 or something, doesn't matter, a month. We would run the ads on Meta and YouTube as much as they want to spend on those two platforms. We don't care. We have the ad strategy. We have the editors. We have the actors. We can script it all. We can have them film it and edit them. Let's just do this. And then the real kicker to all of this is that anybody listening to this who runs an agency and knows when you're running ads for a client in a locale that about 10% of your ad spend or 10% of the leads that come in are typically from outside of the location you're targeting. It's like people driving through that city or whatever it might be. No ad platform is perfect. And that's just kind of a cost to running ads. And clients understand that. It's kind of a part of your discovery and sales pitch is you kind of preset that frame. Well, with us, we get to set this frame where it's like, hey, guess what? We're going to manage your ads. We're going to use our multi-million-dollar ad strategy that we're using every single day to run our ads. We're going to script and do all this stuff for you. But what we're also going to do is buy any of the leads that come in outside of your location or outside of your buy box that you don't want and sell it through the PPL platform. So essentially what we're doing, we're offering something to our big dogs, the best clients, who are already, by the way, working with other PPC agencies, running their own ads to supplement our PPL leads, and offer to do that for them at a cheap retainer, plus offer to buy their overflow leads, the ones they don't want anyways, that they're normally writing off. So now we're giving them back revenue, which helps to go pay for their retainer. And what we've done is create a vendor for ourselves. Our platinum clients are now also vendors to us. So it's kind of this perfect little flywheel.
Yeah.
Did I just jump through every single point all over the place?
No, that was beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. And we kind of had that idea. I think we sat on the first idea for like 6 months or something. We didn't really know. We didn't want to sell packages of leads again. Then this idea came to us. At the time, though, we didn't have a way to do this. Juiced wasn't set up for us to be able to do this.
Right.
Because what has to happen is the lead needs to come in from the campaign we're running from the client. Based on the lead attributes, we need to determine, okay, is this lead going to go to the client whose campaign it is? Which most of the leads are. If not, then the lead can be sold into the PPL platform. It can be sold into the bidding system. It can go down into marketplace. It can go through the whole thing. And we just didn't have a way to do that. So we had to put that on the development list for Juiced. And eventually it made its way to the top of the list, and the functionality became available, and we were able to set it up technically and start to offer this service. And this was just a few months ago that we had the capability to start doing this.
And now I just got to pre-frame something kind of cool that's really the most exciting part for this for us, which is this is now a retainer offer that, yes, we're scripting ads for each client, but that's like, takes us 3 minutes to do. Yes, we have to have them edited. Oh my gosh, good thing we have an editor already on our team. Yes, we might have to have actors like whatever film it if the client doesn't want to. Like we're already doing that because we're creating ads internally every single month. So that's already in the bag. Yes, we need to run the media. Okay, well, that's great. So we have an internal media buying team that's already running this strategy at $1 million a month. So for them to manage, 100 clients in the exact same strategy is super simple for them to do. Yes, we need to have a salesperson talk to and manage these people. Good thing we already have 5 sales reps on our team. So our cost to deliver platinum that is giving us a retainer plus creating a vendor where we're buying the overflow and making 50% on every lead we sell through the PPL platform of our client's overflow from our client's ad spend is costing us absolutely nothing. So, well, not absolutely nothing. It's costing us the sales rep commission.
It's about as close to zero as you can get.
Yes. So every single retainer falls directly to the net line, the net. Or Kyle's favorite word. Oh, I'm not going to say it. But to profit. So
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I was going to say EBITDA.
Oh my God.
So it's pure profit. So every single client that we onboard is now $1,500 or $2,000 or $2,500, whatever the retainer is for the day, going directly to the bottom line.
We can just say where we're at now. So we launched this basically as a beta offering at $1,500. And $1,500 per month. We've already increased that to $2,000 per month. We will likely be increasing that again. But the beauty, like Drew said, we don't really need to increase it that much.
Yeah, it's almost better if we keep it cheaper and have more people buy it.
Yeah, because we're competing against agencies that are likely charging on a tiered system where the more the client is spending, the more the agency charges. Yeah. For us, we would love the client to be spending more and more and more, because that means there's going to be more overflow leads that we can turn around and flip on the PPL platform. So by keeping our retainer low and being the go-to agency for this type of service, the plan is to just gobble up all the clients, get them to spend as much as possible because they're not spending very much on a retainer. They can spend more on their ads, and then we have more overflow leads to sell.
And we're liquidating that retainer by selling these overflow leads or some of the retainer. And it's zero risk for us. So it's a guaranteed 2x on every lead of this overflow, just like a vendor would be, unlike our own internal media buying, which can vary, which is variable from day to day, our profitability on that.
Yep. And when we're paying the client for the overflow leads we're selling them, we're paying them in credits for them to spend on our platform.
Yes.
So we're not just giving them cash back because they're already buying leads from us. That's why they're a client. So they're happy to just be paid in lead credits. So they're just taking and spending that money back with us anyway.
There's a lot of cool things. So I'm just going to say this at the top of my head. I really liked at one point as well, and to this point, the new positioning of this too, where there's a couple ways. And again, I'm jumping, so we'll backtrack a little bit and come back to where we were on point. But I was talking to our COO, who's really, really, really well versed in sales. That's his background. I was like, I really like the positioning of this for the sales team, because now the sales team could, this isn't what we're doing right now, but could lead with the platinum offer when somebody's on a sales call and say, this is what it is, yada, yada, yada. If the person isn't qualified for platinum, or it's just kind of a no-go, they're just like not for it, the downsell to the PPL platform feels really yummy now. Like it feels good because it's just like, well, what we could do now then, Mr. Prospect, is that obviously you're not quite ready for this platinum offering, with the retainer and the ad spend, it's not something that you're willing to invest in at this moment. But what you could do is you can just go onto the platinum or go onto our PPL program. You can start with a $1,000 deposit or a $5,000 deposit, and you can start buying the overflow leads from our platinum clients. So to me, in the positioning of that, makes it feel like these PPL leads are just a higher quality because they're the overflow of these managed campaigns. Now, at the end of the day, the PPL leads that we're selling are really just from managed campaigns, just like a platinum client in most cases. But some people have like this stigma around PPL and where are the leads coming from? Because as we mentioned before, our competitors, and it's in their terms, they're transparent about this, do sell PPL, but the leads could be coming from anywhere. They could be Google, they could be email blasts or SMS blasts or cold calls. And we kind of get painted with those brushstrokes. So this was a really good way, in my mind, through a sales process to differentiate ourselves and make the PPL platform just look like it's just there for you to get ready to ascend into platinum once you're at that point in your business.
Like we mentioned at the beginning, there are plenty of agencies who already are offering retainer services, and who, for this to turn into a hybrid agency, you would be adding on PPL. So I do want to go deeper into that and really talk about what Drew just started talking about, which is how can they use PPL as a downsell to their retainer agency? Yes. But right now we're not doing it that way. We're still leading with PPL, and probably will continue to do so, because what we found is, like, we get to look now at our PPL clients and handpick the best clients. So when we get on a sales call for this service, for the retainer service, we already know the person we're talking with is going to be a good client. We already know they're spending a good amount of money on leads. That's why we're talking to them. So it just becomes a really easy sale and then a really good client.
It's also like creating this like whisper through the industry where like there's somebody at a mastermind who might like drop in a presentation that like, oh, I'm on Leadzillow Platinum, and somebody sitting beside them is like, oh, you mean their PPL platform? And they're like, no, Platinum. And they're like, what is Platinum? Right? Because it's not something that we like have publicly advertised yet. We are now starting to email our list a bit about it, but it's not like you don't go to our website and see anything about Platinum. You just see PPL. Yep. And thousands of investors only know us from PPL.
So what we've done, we took the work that we did defining metros when we had figured out how many leads we were generating in each metro, and applied that same logic to Platinum. So we looked at metros where historically we've been able to generate a lot of leads. And based on how many leads we can generate in a metro, and based on the population of that metro, and for us, based on the number of single-family homes in that metro, we came up with a simple formula and basically figured out how many seats do we want to sell per metro. So for basically every metro in America, we have predetermined how many Platinum clients we can effectively service in that metro. It might be a metro like New York City that has 10 million people, but very few single-family homes, and we only have a couple of Platinum seats. Or a metro like Dallas, Texas, a lot more single-family homes, fewer people, but we have like 5 or 6 Platinum seats. So we put in that work to determine how many seats we can sell per metro, which I think is important because we want to make sure everyone on Platinum has a good experience. And that means we can generate them the leads that they want at a good price per lead. And it also gives us real scarcity. So when we are selling this service to clients, we can point out to them, there's only 1 seat in your metro, or there are 3 seats in your metro, 2 of them are taken, or 1 of them is taken. We're still talking to people. If you want this seat in your metro, you better take us up on this right now.
Or if you don't want us to go sell a seat to your competitor, maybe you should buy all 3. And we have had clients buy multiple seats in a single metro.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't run ads for their competitors.
And them buying all the seats in a metro doesn't mean we're doing any more work. Right. They already know that they can spend an unlimited amount of ad spend just with 1 seat. All that means is that they're blocking out anyone else from working with us.
It's the same as the bid system. We're giving them the option to be as competitive as they have the appetite to be.
Yeah, even though they don't need to. We've defined these seats, so if there's 2 seats in a metro, we can very comfortably have 2 clients, and they're not really going to interfere with each other.
But people don't think
they're not going to interfere with our internal media buying. Like, it's not going to cannibalize our own media buying. So we've been very conservative at deciding how many seats we can offer per metro. But yeah, people still let their ego decide that they're just going to buy all the seats in that metro, which is fine.
Yep.
Fine with me. And then the other thing that this has done, so the defining all these metros, we now have a very real goal for our Platinum program of how many seats are we going to sell. It's 150 something seats are available throughout the country. We have a lofty goal of filling all of those seats, but we have a very real, tangible goal of filling 100 of those seats.
It'd even be cool to get to 100 or even 150, of course, and like have a waiting list.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah, we'll definitely start to have a waiting list in certain metros. Mm-hmm. We already have metros that are full.
And we have done nothing yet outside of filtering by our highest spending clients, having our support team reach out to them, explain the offering, book them a call with one of our sales reps, and selling them into it. We've run no ads to this. I have talked at a mastermind about it. And I guess that probably got us a couple of seats as well. But they were already clients as well. So we are literally just working through our current CRM, basically filling up these seats with having to do no extra outreach. And now we've started to email our list a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And so we're getting people who never would have come onto the PPL platform because they have this stigma against PPL, and that happens. That's fine. But now they're just like, holy cow, these guys obviously know what they're doing. They're spending millions of dollars on ads. I want them to run our ads. And we have this ridiculously crazy offer that literally no agency that I know of in any industry right now could even compete with. I don't know of a single agency that will buy the overflow leads from their clients.
No.
And the only reason that we're able to do this is because we are using Juiced at usejuiced.com.
I suppose someone could figure out a different way to do it.
But why would they when
They
we've
could
already done it?
Get some duct tape,
Oh boy,
maybe some Google Sheets,
those were the days.
some zaps.
$1,000 Zapier bill a month. Yeah. Wonder what our Zap bill would be now. You know what I mean? It was like $800, I think, when in our first year and a half. A month is what it was up to. That'd be interesting. Anyways.
I think that kind of covers like what the service is and how we're doing it. And yeah, in just a few months of being able to offer this, having the technology to be able to offer this, it's been a major value add. It's been a major value add for our clients.
Yeah.
Because now they're able to spend more with us and get more leads.
It's differentiating us from other PPL companies because we're quite commoditized as a PPL company when there's 4 in this industry or 5 in this industry right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are signed up with all of us.
Totally. We go to masterminds and they're just like, yep, God, you guys opening one tab, the other guy's opening this tab, and I'm just like comparing bids and like, it's just so funny. Our app always looks the best, and that is no hyperbole.
But yeah, it's also a huge value add to us. It's sending
profit
money straight to the bottom line. And I guess I can say, like, I don't know when you're going to be listening to this episode, but just a few months in now, we've already added over 20 clients to this.
Yep.
And things are accelerating.
Yes.
And
churn is dismal.
Yeah. Very little churn.
Yeah. And really,
we're cherry picking clients.
Yeah.
There's not going to be much churn.
Yeah. Really, the churn that we have had was just somebody who, whatever, it was not out of anything to do with us running campaigns.
So our goal of 100 seats sold is very much a real goal. It's like very much within grasp. We can see exactly the path that it'll take us to get there.
Yeah.
And by the time we accomplish that, we will have more than doubled our bottom line.
Absolutely. And added stability to that profit, right? It's quite variable on a PPL platform. We'll have added tremendous amount of value, stability, and definitely increase the quality of our net line to any outsiders looking in. So should, we value our company or something like that.
It's not just the retainers that are adding to the bottom line either. It's the fact that we're also adding vendors. Every single platinum client is also a vendor. So we're taking their leads, selling those to other clients who are buying leads from us.
Yeah.
Paying the vendor, paying our platinum client in lead credit.
Which is just adding stickiness now to the platform.
Yeah. And even more money is finding its way to the bottom line.
Yeah, if you think about it, if we're paying a client 50% of the revenue, so now 50% of their sold lead revenue is going into their wallet, and then it's about 50% in COGS on delivered leads. So now we're getting another 50% of that wallet balance as they use through it buying leads on the PPL platform. So effectively, we're making like 75% on every dollar.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
And that is how maths. And I don't even think that was guru math. I think that was real math. I don't want to say if we were starting over, because I think that is a whole podcast on its own.
Yes.
But just through the lens of platinum, if we were starting over, how would we start? How would we do that?
So I think really you're starting with pay per lead. You're starting to get people onto the platform like we've gone over in previous episodes. Sell people into the fact that they can put a $1,000 deposit on, they can put a $5,000 deposit on, they can start to place bids on the platform, and then you can look at where their bids are, you can start generating the leads. That's generally how you would start with Juice and how you could start with running a pay-per-lead agency. So now you're getting some clients on, you're starting to sell them some leads. Eventually, you're going to start to recognize your big clients. Who are buying leads from you. They're wanting more and more leads. And I don't know what percentage of clients that might be. Maybe it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 25 clients you recognize as, okay, this person's a big player. And if I were to offer them a retainer offering, they would probably go for it and they'd be a good client. Maybe it's 1 in 5 or 1 in 10.
And it's important, and we haven't talked about this at all. And again, this will be a future episode when we bring Cody on, but selling a PPL, like selling hey, put $1,000 on a wallet and we'll deduct it as you get leads, and really they could refund that money anytime they want, is a really friggin' easy sell. Versus, hey, you got to pay us $1,500 a month plus $5,000 a month in ad spend. Yeah, it's probably going to take about 3 months before we can really measure results, is a really hard sell. So to Kyle's point, like start with PPL, get a bunch of clients paying you money. Think about the PPL system as an incubator. Yep. You're just keeping them warm. You don't have to feel pressured to get them a whole bunch of leads. Like you run campaigns at a low volume, making sure that you're profitable as you're getting more and more clients, and as you can target more places, you can scale up that volume a little bit, get some vendors, whatever, look after those people. And then, to Kyle's point, when people start screaming for more leads, you start showing them a retainer offer.
For us, we were years into our business, hundreds of active clients before we started doing this. But if we were to start over with the same capabilities now that Juiced has, we would have started this right away. As soon as we recognize a client is wanting more and more leads from us, great, let's start them on a retainer offer. So I think that's where someone should start if they're really just getting started as an agency. And the other side of that is if someone already does have an agency going and already has a lot of retainer clients, now you can take what you've built there. You don't abandon that agency at all. You don't need to shift those clients from retainer clients to pay-per-lead clients. You keep serving them as retainer clients. But now you can really sweeten the offer for them. And you can have another offer for other potential clients who weren't a good fit for your retainer model.
The way I would start this would be like step one. You get the software set up. So you have Juice set up. So now, and we talked about this a little bit earlier. So our customers don't know what Juiced is. Our customers know what the Leadzolo portal is. So you get, your agency portal set up on Juiced. And then you go to let's say you have 100 active retainer clients, and maybe you have 15. Like it's fine. It doesn't matter. We're just going to talk about 100.
And this is, by the way, assuming that these 100 clients are in the same industry.
Right.
You have 100 clients who are doing solar installation, or 100 roofer clients.
I think that's roofing. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you have 100 clients in different industries, like my starting advice there is pick one of those industries and start to niche down.
Yes, absolutely. So I would get the portal set up, and then first thing, and we didn't even bullet this point out, was I would go to every single one of those clients and just be like, hey, so we're going to start offering to buy your overflow. So what that means is like, I know, Mr. Customer, we're doing Atlanta, and the odd time we get this lead from over here, and that sucks. What I want to do is buy those leads from you. I think it's totally right. And it'll give you a little bit of extra money to spend to reinvest back into marketing. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to set you up with this portal account. So as we're able to buy leads from you, those credits are going to go into this portal account so that you're able to buy leads from some of our other customers in other areas who might be getting overflow in your area. So this way we can just route those leads to you, because obviously you're the operator in this area who's crushing it and can make much better use of these leads. How's that sound? Great, cool. So here's the portal. Maybe put a couple $100 on it because we haven't sold any of your leads yet, but you put a few $100 on that, or $1,000 or a couple grand. And so, if your neighboring person that we have that we're serving gets some leads, you can start buying them right away. Great. That should be just every single one of your clients should just have that set up. So now you have 100 retainer clients, and you now have 100 PPL clients, right? Then they're like looking to buy the overflow from everybody else. Then if you have 100 retainer clients, that means you have an email list or a CRM full of leads, because those 100 clients didn't come from 100 leads, right? So you probably have an email list of a couple of thousand people. I would guarantee if you sent an email talking about a PPL platform, that you could get a couple hundred people just from your email list easily. because selling PPL is infinitely easier than selling retainer. So all the people that said no to your retainer offer over the last year or 2 or 3 or 7 or 12 you can now re-engage them with a cool offer and get them into that PPL program. And I would, like, within a couple of months, you could be, and again, right, if you have 100 retainer offers, they turn into portal clients, and now you've got a couple hundred more from your email list, you should be doing a couple $100,000 in PPL a month. Absolutely no problem. On top of your retainer clients, without ever disrupting what you're doing with those retainer clients. Would you agree with that?
It certainly is possible.
Yes.
We've been talking with someone who's we're starting to bring on as a beta client of Juiced when we were starting to get Juiced off the ground. And he sent out an email like this to some of his prospective clients who never closed.
Super long, detailed, explanatory email.
Yeah. All it said is, if we offered exclusive leads that you could select by county and you only paid for valid leads, would you be interested? Reply and let me know.
That was it.
That was it. No link, no fanfare, just giving people what they want, which are leads. People coming in, paying a retainer agency for their service and paying ad spend. They don't want ads. They don't want traffic. They want leads. So you're going right to the source. Hey, if we offered you exclusive leads, would you be interested? He sent out an email to just a sampling of his email list, got a 5% response rate of people replying and saying yes.
Yes. So if I have a 1,000 person email list, there's 50 clients saying yes. And maybe 30 of them end up.
Yeah. People who you had talked to before, it wasn't the right fit for your retainer services, but it is the right fit for them to just come on, start with a much lower commitment and start buying leads from you.
And then you can start transitioning all of your retainer clients' landing page forms to a form that will route the out of area into the PPL. And the important thing, and we've made this mistake, so I keep bringing it up. The important thing is that when you have somebody on your PPL platform with a wallet balance, is that you do not have an obligation to fulfill on them right away, right? It's okay to create the demand first and then start fulfilling on the demand when you can do it profitably. Let me save you 2 to 3 years of being not unprofitable in a PPL company. Only supply where you have demand and start super slow.
Don't feel bad when someone has put some money on and the next day they start blowing you up because they haven't got a lead yet.
Yep. Just be like, oh, if you want a lead, then maybe you should go on retainer.
If you want a lead, maybe you need to just wait until we generate a lead in your area.
What I always love to say is we don't create demand, we capture demand. And currently, it doesn't appear that there's a lot of demand in your area. Next week could be very different.
Yes.
That'll buy you a couple of days.
But no, it really is about setting that expectation up front for someone coming in to buy leads from you that, hey, we're not guaranteeing anything here. All we can guarantee is if you're the highest bidder and we get a lead in your area, that you're the one who's going to get that lead.
Yep.
That might be 1 lead a day. It might be 1 lead a month.
And what's going to start happening is when you transition those retainer clients, you're also under no obligation to buy every single out of area lead from those clients. What you're explaining to them is you're going to split the revenue should they have an out of area lead and you have a buyer for it. So not every, when you're starting out, not every out of area lead is going to sell because you're not going to have a PPL buyer in every single area. But so what happens to those leads? If you remember, this is a pop quiz, everybody go to thatagencygroup.com and I want you to post and answer this before I do. What happens when you generate a lead and you don't have a bidder in a specific county? It goes to Marketplace. So now what's happening is you're going to start filling up Marketplace. So now your sales team is going to be able to have a real life demo and a downsell. So now you're going to start talking to prospects and go, hey, we're a retainer agency. Obviously, you don't talk like that or say retainer agency, but you're going to present the retainer offer. As you're presenting the retainer offer, you can also bring up that you have a PPL platform and maybe offer it as a downsell if they're not biting on the retainer. If they're still, as you're explaining the PPL offer, you'd be like, and this is what the leads look like. And you can show them marketplace. And now you have proof of concept directly in front of you. And you can even have them buy a lead within the hour and make time to success minutes and hours instead of days and weeks.
It's magical.
It's magical.
Now, I did want to comment on one thing you said, Drew, of making sure that your clients, if you have retainer clients, making sure that their form can send you the overflow leads into the bidding system. It's actually much simpler than that. The client just needs to be sending all of their leads into Juiced, into your Juiced account. Juiced then does the job of filtering. Right. The majority of the leads are going to go to the client.
Correct. I apologize. Yes.
So leads come from a form. We use a form called Lead Capture, which integrates, there's a native integration with Juiced.
I have not secured the sponsorship invoice for them yet. You may preemptively have said that. No, Lead Capture is a phenomenal company. Phenomenal.
Yeah, but any lead software that can send the details out through a webhook, or if it can't, it can probably send the lead to Zapier, and Zapier can send a webhook. That lead can come into Juiced. Based on the filters that are set up for the client, they'll get most of the leads, and then that'll be webhooked back out to the client over to their CRM, and then the overflow leads stay in Juiced and go into the bidding system and then into Marketplace.
Yeah. That's why I keep Kyle around. Nothing to do with it. He's the majority shareholder. So yeah, so as you can see, it's brilliant. I'm brilliant. We're brilliant. It's really just cool. And we're so excited to be talking about this. We're so excited to share this journey that we've gone through. This is, well, I guess I'm like starting to wrap here, but what else haven't we explained about this?
I think we've kind of attacked it from all angles.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing PPL or whether you're already doing retainer, you can just add on the other service.
Yeah.
If you're selling retainer services, you might discover that it's easier for you just to sell pay per lead as your front end offer.
Yes.
Depending on what your close rate is for your retainer services, especially if it's a low close rate. Yeah. If you have a 5% close rate on your retainer,
which is
versus like
probably average for a retainer offer.
Yeah, you'll probably be getting a 25 to 30% close rate on your pay per lead offer. Great, let's sell everyone into pay per lead and then cherry pick retainer clients out of there.
And we have 20 to 30% close rate, right? On our and just so you guys know, and this is specific to us, we are not prescribing here. What we do is we lead with a $5,000. Our sales team leads with a $5,000 deposit is what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And if the client says, yes, sure, let's do it, and they do it, we give them an extra $1,000 in lead credit. So they make the $5,000 deposit. We in the back end add another $1,000, so they have a total of $6,000. Mm-hmm. Again, they don't get like a transaction charge on the first time or anything like that. Sales team also helps them set up like auto recharge and all that kind of stuff. The sales team can go as low as a $1,000 deposit with no incentive. But that's as low as we go. That's just what we do. When Cody's on and we're talking about sales, we can go a little more deeper into that. So, and at that, we have a 20 to 30% close rate.
Not even just on calls, but on applications that come through.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So if you subtract the no-shows, our actual close rate of when our salesperson is talking to a prospect is much higher than that.
Whenever our competitors are spamming our form, the huge. Shout out to Gene.
So I would love to know what questions people have about this.
Yes.
About setting up their own hybrid agency format. We've only done it once. I would love to help every agency set up this structure.
Absolutely.
So if you're wondering how to do this for your agency, I am ready to just get in the weeds and take a look at this and help you as best I can. Think through how this is going to work with your agency.
So let's lay out what that offer would look like from us. to help you with your agency getting onto Juice and becoming hybrid.
We're going to need equity.
Equity for sure. At least 60%.
Lots of equity.
Yeah. Obviously, we have more episodes planned for the podcast. If you haven't caught this yet, we're doing this all in a batch in a few days. So these first 13 episodes have been a 4-day grind for us. It's been very exciting. We do plan, if there's enough appetite for it and people want to talk to us about integrating PPL into your already retainer agency, or maybe you have a PPL agency, you want to use Juiced or whatever it is, we're thinking about doing weekly, maybe it's bi-weekly calls within that agency group. It's going to be free. We're going to do it free. And we're going to want to talk to you about your business and help transition through this. Is that accurate?
Yeah, as far as I know. I know you want to do free calls.
Yeah. Maybe we charge for them. I don't know.
Well, if we do calls, they will be free.
Yes. If we do calls, they will be free. We come out with more training modules or something like that.
At the very least, we're going to be looking for questions posted in the group.
Yes.
And help with our own comments.
Correct. Yes.
I'll tell you what, this is exciting.
I'm pumped. I'm excited to hear the feedback.
Yeah.
I'm excited to help people transition to hybrid.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for more episodes to come.
Me too.
And one of the ones coming up, I already mentioned earlier, is what we would do starting from scratch. And when that one, we are going to talk about everything from sales process, client acquisition, vendors, leads, media buying, personal relationships with our wives. Maybe not all of those things.
We're talking about an episode just on sales and bringing in the sales pro from LeadZolo to help us with that episode.
Yep.
We're looking at an episode on client acquisition.
Yep.
And taking a thorough, detailed look, because we've generated thousands of client applications, thousands of clients.
Yeah. Well over 10,000.
Probably, 10,000 plus applications. And we'd love to tell you how we've done that. And I'm actually very curious to look at the breakdown and the numbers of where all these applications have come from.
Yes. We're not going to talk and be like, send 1,000 cold emails a week, because we've never done that. Of course not.
Yeah.
Kyle's going to pull the actual data.
We have the data.
Yep.
So we're going to do a breakdown on that of where all of our applications and clients have come from. That'll be a really fun episode. We'd like to do a detailed episode on media buying.
Mm-hmm. That'd be fun.
That'd be very fun.
I do love media buying.
Because even running a media buying agency, when we had AdLeg, we never had a client that was spending as much on media as LeadZolo has spent.
That's right. We are our largest client ever.
Yeah, we've spent upwards of $30,000, $40,000 a day on ads.
That's got to say something, genuinely. Might be a little braggadocious, but to become having run an agency and manage other people's media buying, and us being the largest account we've ever run, obviously we have a few things figured out. And Juice helped.
So a lot of episodes planned. We'd love to know other topics you're interested in, because at some point our very large brains are going to run out of ideas for episodes.
God, it's not even possible. They'll just be bad ideas.
True.
Yeah.
So we'd love to know what we've missed, what you'd like more detail on, and we love your feedback. So go to the group and tell us what you'd like to hear.
Absolutely. It's a school group. I don't think we've mentioned that yet, but it's a school group. It's not a Facebook group. It's not on some weird app you've never been on. It's on one of the absolute best platforms you could possibly be for a group. Plus it's free. So why aren't you there yet?
Turn this off. This episode is over. So you can pause this.
Yep.
Don't listen to another podcast.
Don't. There's no point.
Stop what you're doing.
Start back at episode 1. You take notes this time.
Yes, listen again. Stop what you're doing. Go to thatagencygroup.com. If you're already there, let us know what you thought about this episode. And I'm looking forward to your feedback.
Yeah, and we will be there, or some AI representation of
some
us.
Version of us, yes.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
See you there.